Make yourself comfortable and we'll get started. Our focus for today is going to be on feeling movement and in relaxing after we do particular movements. What we're going to do is mostly targeted movement that will target specific muscles or muscle groups, and we will do a particular movement and then we will try to pay attention to how it feels to do that movement and how it feels after we finish doing the movement. And so we'll give you a lot of time to um, pause after certain movements and just relax, release, and just feel the effects that you create when you move. And that's going to be what we're after today, feeling our movement and then learning to relax afterwards. So let's begin. We're going to start in constructive rest pose. So on your back with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor. I'm going to do this at a little bit of an angle, so hopefully you can see this a little bit better. So, constructive rest pose. Bring your hands, interlace them together, bring them back behind your head. And we're going to start by just finding our breath and noting how long an inhale takes, how long an exhale takes. And much of the movement that we'll be doing today will be very rhythmic, and the rhythm will be supplied by your breath. So if your breath takes 3 seconds to inhale and about 3 to exhale, the movements that we'll be doing will take 3 seconds to do a movement in one direction and about 3 seconds to move in the other direction. So let's begin. Let's bring your thighs so that they are vertical and your feet just dangle down. From the knees down is just relaxed. And on the next inhale, we're going to move the knees each in the opposite direction. So I'm going to move my right knee towards my chest, my left knee away from my chest. And then on the exhale, we're going to reverse that movement. So it's nice and slow. 3 seconds, inhale. Here's a 3 second exhale. Inhale, exhale. So I'm going to let you move at your own pace here. Legs move one direction on the inhale and they reverse on the exhale. I want you to notice what's going on with your lumbar curve, your lower back. Make sure that the lower back is lifted and is feeling no tension. Also note the neck. Sometimes when we do movements in yoga, we subconsciously tense up our neck with the thought that perhaps that's going to help things. So bring your attention to your neck and let it relax. As you move, feel the movement that's taking place in the hip joints. See if you can feel what muscles are creating this movement. And go ahead and release. Bring your feet down, relax and release. And we're just going to take a minute here to feel that movement. This particular movement targets the very low front of the torso. You may feel it in the upper thighs, at the attachment point for the quads. You might also feel it a little lower into the body where the psoas and the iliopsoas live. So just feel the energy that that movement creates. Absorb that energy. And at the same time, release any tension that you may be holding in your body. Let's bring our attention back to our breath. We're going to come back to a similar starting position with both thighs vertical. And what we're going to do is we're going to move both knees to one side on the exhale. Inhale back to center. Inhale, knees will go to the other side. Inhale to center. So exhale to one side, inhale to center. Make this as smooth as you can. Let those knees and the pelvis rock back and forth, nice and slowly, nice and smoothly. And don't worry about coming down very far. You should probably only come down about no more than halfway. There's no need to bring the knees way down. We're going to use this as an intro to a different movement. And here's that different movement. Instead of both knees moving to the side, we're going to have one knee move to the side. The other knee pushes straight up towards the ceiling. So one knee down, one knee up. Come back to center. Here's the breath work. Exhale as the knee comes down. The other knee presses up towards the sky. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the side. Inhale to center. Exhale. Inhale. As you do this movement, nice and slow, notice the pelvis rocking back and forth as the knee drops lower. And then the pelvis comes back to a neutral position with both knees vertically. Notice the muscles that are creating this movement right now. The obliques and the lower torso. The muscles, the adductors in the thighs, especially the upper thighs. They're both involved in doing this movement. Let's add a little something to this. As the knee comes down, straighten that foot, straighten that leg, and let the foot drift up towards the head. Then inhale, bring it back. Exhale, the other leg to the side. Straighten the leg. Inhale, back to center. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Notice how it feels as the leg extends out along the floor. Do the two sides feel similar or do they feel a little bit different? Let's do one more each side. And release. So notice the energy that was created from that movement. And just notice it, just absorb it, and let all of your muscles release and relax. So we're holding the energy, but we're not holding any tension. Notice where the energy, the prana, the muscle heat, however you want to describe it, notice where it comes from. Doing that last movement, oftentimes you're going to feel it on the insides of your thighs. You might feel it in the lower torso. And let's come back to constructive rest pose. I'd like you to pull your heels in towards your butt, whatever is comfortable. And what we're going to do is we're going to push one knee at a time away from the body, and the other knee is going to pull towards the body. So I'm going to push my left knee away from the body. My right knee pulls towards the body. And then I come back to center. Then I reverse. Right knee forward, left knee pulls in, and release. So on the inhale, both knees move in opposite directions. On the exhale, we release and relax. And as you do this movement, notice what muscles are being used here. Notice what happens with the pelvis as one knee pushes forward and the other knee pulls back. You should have a bit of a rocking motion as the pelvis rocks side to side. Usually, as one knee pushes forward, the pelvis on that side is going to lift a little bit off the mat and come back to center as the knees come back to center. Let's do one more each side. And release. And we'll notice, where is the energy from this particular movement? You may feel it in different spots. There really is no right answer. But a lot of what is involved here is the glutes. The glutes are involved in making that twisting motion and pulling one side of the pelvis down while the other side lifts. So certainly there's some movement in the thighs, but the glutes are involved quite a bit in that movement. We're going to change our orientation just a little slight bit, and we're going to continue from a constructive rest pose. We'd like you to straighten your left leg out on the ground. The right leg comes up so the thigh is vertical. You can bring your hands back under your head. If that's not comfortable, you can just bring your hands down and put them either vertical like this or over your chest. However you find that comfortable, what we're going to do with the raised leg is we're going to swing it across the body to the other side. So this is my right leg. I'm going to bring it across the body to the left side of my mat. Then I'm going to come back to center, straighten that leg out, and bring the other leg across and straighten it. So here's the movement. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. If you would like a little more spice in your movement, when you straighten the leg, keep it lifted. So I've got my right foot lifted, left leg comes across. Keep that left leg lifted as the right leg comes across. And if you'd like a little more spice, as the leg comes over, extend and straighten that leg. Leg comes across and straightens. As you do this movement, notice what you feel as that leg straightens. Usually there's quite strong feelings as the leg reaches the end of its arc. And come to center and release. So we'll take a few breaths here. Feel what you feel. Notice the energy. And just relax. We're going to do one more movement from constructive rest pose, and it's going to combine a whole bunch of the movements that we have done before, including the legs coming across and the single legs coming down. And let me demonstrate first, and then we'll walk it through together. So we're going to start with the thighs vertical again. We're going to drop one knee down towards the ground and straighten that leg. Instead of bringing it back to center, though, we're going to swing that leg in a big, big arc all the way around to the other side as far as it will swing. We're going to swing it back and then bring it back to center. So we look at the other side, leg goes down to the side and straightens, swings in a big arc, swings back in a big 180, comes back to vertical. If it is too much of a strain to keep your leg lifted the entire time, you can certainly let it skitter along the floor. Let's do one more leg. Come back to center and release. Now, there's a lot going on in that sort of movement. Pretty much every muscle from your diaphragm down is involved in that sort of movement. So just take time, take a few breath cycles here to just relax and feel the movement. And we are going to move into prone position. And you can either do this prone position with your head resting on your hands or in Sphinx position. I'm going to do Sphinx so that you can hear what I'm saying instead of just having me mumble into the mat. So the easiest, most restful is to put your hands together and rest your head, your forehead on your hands like this. I'm going to start from Sphinx so you can hear me. So what we're going to do from this position is we are going to extend one leg at a time. So I'm going to start with my right leg, extend that leg back away from the torso, and then release. The breath work in this movement is inhale as we extend one leg, exhale as we let that leg relax. Inhale, extend the other leg, relax. Inhale, extend, and relax. So each inhale, you'll extend the leg, and I want you to notice a couple of things that go on as the leg extends. We're not doing any lifting or anything else. We're just extending the leg. Notice what happens at the top of the thigh of the leg that's being extended. So if your right leg is extended, what happens to the top of the right thigh? Usually, it's going to be pressing down into the mat. And I want you to notice as you extend leg to leg, the pelvis will typically rock back and forth. And you may notice that the glutes are involved again. Let's do a few more of these. Each inhale, extend the leg. And on the inhale, release. And go ahead and release everything. What we're going to do next is a slight variation from this. What we're going to do is extend one leg, and then as part of that inhale, bend the knee and bring the heel in towards your butt. The exhale, you'll straighten the leg back and release. So let's go to the second side. Inhale, lengthen, extend that leg and bend at the knee. Exhale, straighten and release. Extend and bend. Exhale, release. Extend and bend. Exhale, release. Now, very gently, when your heel comes in, try to pull it in as close as you can, comfortably. You don't want to strain things here. Just make it comfortable. And notice as the heel comes in, what happens in the rest of the body? Do you notice any tightening? For example, in the quads, do you notice some tightening there? Do you notice the hamstring on the leg contracting and getting shorter? Do you notice the thigh on that side pressing into the ground? What do you notice in the lower back? And release. There's a lot going on right there, including the glutes and the hams, the thighs, stretching, and a lot of engagement in the lower back, especially if you're doing it from Sphinx pose. It's a little more intense. One thing to note when you're doing these sorts of poses is whether you're holding some tension in your neck. Sometimes that happens. The neck wants to get involved, it wants to help out. It's not really helping out, but it does lead to some additional tension. And so the next movement that we're going to do, I want you to pay particular attention to the neck and whether you're tensioning the neck in order to help you do this movement. So what we're going to do is we're going to extend one leg, same extend movement, but instead of bending at the knee, we're going to lift the knee very slightly off the mat. And then exhale and release. Inhale, extend the other leg, lift the knee very slightly. It's really an unweighting. We're not really lifting very high. The lift is maybe ½ inch. It's pretty small. Exhale and release. So on the inhale, we'll extend and lift. Exhale, relax and release. Notice what's going on with the top of the thigh of the leg that's lifting. You should notice that the top of the thigh, is pressing down into the mat as the leg extends and then the knee lifts slightly. Notice the pelvis rocking back and forth. Notice whether your neck is tensioned and is participating in this movement. It should remain relaxed. And go ahead and release. We are going to do one more movement from prone mountain. And let me show you here. It'll be a little easier to see. Imagine I'm on my belly. We're going to start with our arms out in bird pose, so 90-degree angle. What we're going to do is from this position, again, imagine that I'm prone on the mat, face down. We're going to lift the arms up like this. Lift the arms up. We're going to bring them back down and shift them down 10 to 20 degrees. Lift the arms again, come back, drop 10 to 20 degrees, lift again. And we'll continue moving a couple degrees and then lifting until we get all the way down to the hands next to the hips. Then we're going to come back up nice and slowly, back up to here. And then we're going to continue past the 90-degree arm torso. And we're going to continue in this direction until we can't do it anymore. And for me, that's about here. I've got some whacked out shoulders and they don't really want to move that well in this position. The one thing I want you to watch as we're in prone is to keep the collarbones down The nose and chin are going to float just a little bit above the mat. So let's come on down into prone mountain. Start with the hands out at 90. Let your collarbones drop down towards the mat. Nose and chin float just barely above the mat. Lift the hands, bring them down, shift down 10 to 20 degrees. Lift, shift, lift, shift, lift, shift. Once you've gotten all the way down to the hips, reverse directions. So you're coming back up towards the arms at 90 degree. Each inhale, you'll lift, exhale, and bring the arms down. And when you hit your limit, come on out. We're going to move into some movements from table pose. So let's start there. So you'll notice that I have a little bit of an angle from shoulder to wrist, slightly longer table than usual. Thighs are vertical. So from table position, I'm going to take my right leg straight back, parallel with the ground. And then with that right hip, I'm going to lift that right hip up towards the ceiling. And then bring it back down again. Bring the knee down. Left one, left leg up. Lift that left hip. Bring the hip down again. Bring the knee down. So the breath work here is inhale as you straighten the leg and lift the hip. Exhale as you drop the hip and bring it back down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. As you do this movement, I want you to note a couple of things. One is whether your arms are staying straight. Tendency here is to bend one of the arms to assist in the spinal twist that we're creating here. So notice the arms, try and keep them straight. Also notice how it feels to create that twist. Where are the muscles that are creating that movement? And release. We're going to come into a different movement. I'm going to pretend here that I've got a mat like this, lengthwise towards the camera. We're going to start again in table. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the knee straight out to the side and then bring it down. The position of the back is going to be in a cow position. So we're not arching the back into cat. We're going to keep it in something similar to a cow. So from this position, inhale, lift one knee straight to the side. Exhale down. Inhale, knee up. Exhale down. So the knee just goes straight out to the side. Try and keep those arms straight so they're not bending. Notice that twist. Pelvis twists. The spine twists. Get that nice, satisfying spinal twist. And release. So we're going to do a little variation on that particular movement. We're going to start with the same knee up movement, but then we're going to take the foot and shoot it across the body to the other side of the body. So I'm going to take my left knee up, and then I'm going to straighten that leg, bring it across and back behind my body. You're going to notice that the left hip is lifted way high, similar to the hip lift that we did a few movements ago. Then we're going to exhale, bring the knee back and down. Inhale as we bring the knee across. Exhale, down. Inhale, knee up. Shoot that leg across. Let that hip lift high. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Let's do one more each side. And release. If you like child's pose, please feel free. If you prefer to just sit, we're going to take a minute here and just wallow in the feeling that was generated from that movement. Typically, when we do large twists from the hip joint or spinal twists, there's a lot of energy that is generated. And I want you to absorb that energy and release any muscle tension that you may be carrying. Okay, we're going to come into standing position and do a few standing poses. We're going to start in what's known as huddle. I'll show you a side view here so you can see what's going on. What we're going to do is we're going to bring the hands like this with the thumbs in, and we're going to put them, thumbs in, just above your knees. So it's going to look like this. We're going to bend the knees. We're going to let the back sag down into a cow position. We're going to hold the weight of the torso on the straight arms. So the arms and hands are holding the weight of the torso, and we're balanced fairly nicely front to back. From this particular position, what we're going to do is we're going to push one shoulder, in my case, the left shoulder forward. Keep the knees nice and stable. Push one shoulder forward. Feel that stretch on that left side of the body. Feel the stretch that happens in the left hip. And then release. And then we're to the other side. Push that right shoulder forward. Take a few breaths here. Notice the stretch on the right side, in the right hip. Let's go to the left side. Right side. Let me turn a little bit. Maybe you can see this a little bit better. left shoulder forward, right shoulder forward. So let's add a little bit of rhythm to this so that we'll get the breath involved. So as you inhale, push one shoulder forward, push the same side knee forward too. So in my case, left shoulder, left knee both move forward. The right knee moves back a little bit. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale, right shoulder, right knee forward, left knee back. Exhale to neutral. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So make this nice and slow. Let those knees push forward and back gently. Notice what you feel in the hip that has the knee pushing back. Typically, there's a good deal of tension applied to the glutes as the hip and the knee moves back. And come back to center. Bend those knees and come on up. We're going to take a look at a back engagement. And what we're going to do, I'll turn sideways so you can see this a little clearer. What we're going to do is we're simply going to lift the arms. And you'll notice that as the arms lift, the back is going to straighten a little bit, especially the thoracic curve, which is normally curved a bit this way, is going to straighten and lengthen. So on the inhale, lift the arms up. On the exhale, bring the arms down. Your gaze is going to follow your hands. So head lifts up, head lifts, goes down. We'll do a few of these just to get this lower back engaged a little bit. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you bring the arms down. Knees stay bent a little bit through the whole motion. Let's add a little something to that. What we're going to do is we're going to get the lower half of the body a little more engaged. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take one leg, in this case my right leg, slightly back. And as the arms lift, we're going to push this knee back so that the leg extends and lengthens. So here's what it looks like. Bring that foot back, and then as I lift, straighten that leg, push the knee back, back, back as the lift lifts. Exhale, come down. Inhale, the left leg pushes back. Exhale down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. As the leg gets pushed back, the knee pushes back and the arms lift. Feel that long lift that you get all the way through the back of the body, up the spine, up through the head. Inhale up. Exhale and release. Inhale, engage. Exhale, release. Go ahead and release. We're going to add one more movement to this sequence. We're going to do the same basic sequence, but once we do that lift, we're going to then tilt a little bit forward from the planted hip joint. So in this case, my right leg is back. As I lift the arms, I straighten that right leg. I've got everything engaged on the back side of the body, and then I'm going to tilt forward a tiny little bit. Torso comes forward, the leg lifts off the ground a little bit, and then I exhale down. Left side. Push the knee back, lift the arms, tilt a little bit from that right hip joint. Exhale down. Inhale, engage, and tilt. Exhale, release. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale and release. And just take a few moments here. Focus on your breath. Focus on, what do you feel? How do you feel? Lots of muscles involved in a movement like that. Almost all of the major muscle groups on the back side of the body are engaged to create that kind of movement. We're going to do one more standing pose, and it's a little bit of a dance sequence. So let's start with the first part. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the right leg and we're going to bring it across the body to the left side of the body, and then bring the foot down. And then the left leg comes across the body and down. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So I want you to notice one thing here. Bring the hand, the opposite hand, across and just touch the outside of the thigh as it lifts. And notice what happens with the spine here. That hand reaching out creates a bit of a counter twist. So the pelvis is rotating one direction, the shoulders are rotating in the other direction. So we've got a counter twist going on the spine, with the hips and the shoulders moving in, rotating in opposite directions. All right, let's modify that a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit more leg movement. So the initial inhale, exhale, instead of just bringing the foot back down to standing mountain, we're going to exhale and bring the foot behind the planted foot. So the back foot, here's my initial lift, the back foot is on the toes in line with the front foot. And then the next movement is that we're going to lengthen and extend that back leg. Now, what you'll notice here is that the pelvis is going to twist when you extend that leg. So here's the movement. Inhale, exhale. Here's the inhale and the extension of that leg. Notice the pelvis twists in this case towards the right. Exhale, come out. Let me switch around here so you can see that a little better. Inhale. Exhale, we're on the toes. Inhale, straighten that leg, the pelvis rotates around. Exhale back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen and extend that leg, pelvis twists. Exhale out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. All right. Let's keep adding a little bit here and there. What we're going to do is watch what happens to the torso as we extend the back leg. What we're going to do is have the shoulders follow the pelvis in terms of its rotation. So it looks like this. Here's our inhale. Here's our exhale. Inhale, notice the pelvis twists. We're going to let the shoulders twist in the same direction as the hips are. So they're facing the side of the mat. And then exhale out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen and twist the torso so it's facing directly to the side. Exhale out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. There we go. Let's do a few more. Let's do one more each side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Actually, I changed my mind. Let's add one more little piece here. One more little piece. A little bit more twisting. So here's what it's going to look like. We're going to follow that same basic pattern, but we're going to add a step out instead of just bringing the foot to standing mountain. So here's what it's going to look like. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And then exhale, we're going to lift that knee up and bring it across the body to the other side of the planted foot. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Lift that knee, swing it across. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Nice. Let's do a couple more. And release. So we finished moving. I'd like you to find a comfortable spot, whether that's constructive rest pose or Shavasana or child's pose, whatever you find comfortable. Find a comfortable spot. We're going to take a few minutes to release and relax. So make yourself comfortable. And let's begin by focusing on our breath, and particularly the exhale, and noting during each exhale that an exhale creates a natural relaxation in the body. That each exhale, you can sink a little bit lower into a nice, warm, relaxed state. So each exhale, release and relax. And from this relaxed state, I'd like to have you do a very light body scan, looking to see if you're holding tension anywhere in your body. And if you are, just let it relax, let it release. And now I'd like you to find this feeling that you have right now, this nice, relaxed, at ease feeling, and put that into your long term memory banks. What does that feeling feel like? And can I reproduce it? Can you pull it up from your memory banks and bring the same sort of deep relaxation? Bring it back to your body and re experience it without having to do an hour of yoga. Can you store and keep that feeling and bring it up again tonight, perhaps when you go to sleep, perhaps tomorrow if you're under stress? Can you keep this current feeling and bring it back whenever you need to relax and release? So let's take a few more breaths. And when you're ready, we'll begin to move a little bit. You can wiggle your toes, your fingers, extend your legs, your arms, your head. And when you're ready to move slowly, come up to a seated position. And I want to thank you for practicing with me today. Hands together. Namaste. Thanks again for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this session. Hope to see you again.